The draft rankings is back. I'm Cody Carpentier, joined as always by my main man, Matty Kiwoom. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all for tapping in, locking in. Yes, I might have said, hey, we're going to start doing shows every single day of the week. And that was before I realized that I needed to get a tooth pulled on Monday, and it was going to be very hard for me to do much of anything the first couple of days of the week. But we're back here. This thing's dropping Wednesday night if you're listening live. Matty Kiwoom, we're going to do a mock draft today.
Yeah, baby.
Full round one NFL mock draft, November 19th, the week preceding Thanksgiving. And we're about to put this thing into overdrive. No bullshit. No bullshit. Even though I know I'm traveling this weekend, no bullshit. We're getting the shows out. The shows are getting out.
We've already talked about around this travel plan, right? This is part of the plan.
We scheduled it.
Off script. Face is good. Swelling's down. I can prove. I can corroborate. I saw pictures from the chair, from the dentist chair, so I can prove he did go to the dentist. It was not a lie.
It's good when they get you all numbed up and then they give you those glasses. And I'm like sitting in that room. I sat in that room literally, dude. I got in there at 8 o'clock and I didn't get the tooth pulled till 10:30.
Oh, did they let you listen to headphones?
No.
Oh man,
I'm sitting there staring at an X-ray of my teeth on the screen. They're just like, "Yo, we'll be back in a minute. You need some water?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need some water." Like, please, 2.5 hours in this chair, not moving. So yeah, so your boy had to send a couple pics out. Matty Kiwoom got one. Yeah. We're all good though. Moving the mouth, couple of teeth missing in there, but you know what it is. Missing, couple teeth missing. Yeah, let's do it. NFL mock draft 2026.
You want evens or odds? We're gonna go alternate shot.
Rock, paper, scissors.
And we got to wait. Hold on. Before we get in again, make sure you're liking this video. Make sure you're subscribed. TDR. We're kicking in overdrive. Leave in the comments what type of mock do you want to see? Because each and every week we're going to bring some sort of mock, whether it's a competition mock and we have you guys vote, whether we do a 7 round for one particular team, whether we cooperate, whether we do trades, no trades. This time, alternate shot, odds and evens. Let's do it. Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
And shoot. Okay. Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah.
All right, what you got?
I guess I get to pick. Yeah. Also, I just realized that if someone clips that, my hand motion was probably we're gonna blur that. Let's blur that. That actually, in hindsight, was crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead. Which one? I'm gonna take evens because the Patriots are at pick 26. So I want to get my pack.
Oh, you're such a dunk. All right. So our order here, I changed it up a little bit from the general pop that they've given us. It's really, to be quite frank, you eliminate the Jags from last year, the Patriots, Carolina Panthers. The rest of these teams is pretty much the same order of how they drafted against each other in last year's class. They just kind of bumped up a couple of spots. Saints from 9 to 6. Jets are in here. So it's going to go Titans for the podcast audience. Titans, Giants, Browns, Raiders, Jets, Saints at 6. Washington at 7. Rams at 8. Bengals 9. Cardinals 10. Dolphins 11, Cowboys 12, Vikings 13, Ravens 14, Chiefs, Texans, Panthers, Lions. I know that seems high. Bucks, Steelers at 20, Chargers, Niners, Bears, Bills, Seahawks, Patriots at 26, like Matty said, Eagles, Broncos, Rams, Browns at 30, Dallas, that's in Green Bay's spot, and then the Jets drafting for Indianapolis.
This is a fun mock. Thanks to the NFL. Thank you, NFL, because having all of these other teams owning their first rounders, it's going to lead for some good intuitive thought. We're going to have to think a little outside of the box, I think, as the season goes, especially if they're not all drafting at the end of the first. If there is a little bit more parity, if guys rise and fall, I think we could see some movement here. So I'm happy that the NFL has made a lot of first-round pick trades.
Okay, before we start this thing, one thing I want to get across the board. We didn't talk about this pre-show, and we're going to talk about it at the first minute because I think it's a big elephant in every room of mocks right now. Of these quarterbacks, which ones are we utilizing and not utilizing?
So I just say we go with the Todd McShay rule. You know, I think he's as plugged in as it gets. What he says will set, kind of how I do a lot of my work, to be quite frank. So that means no Dante Moore, no Lenore Sellers, and I think no John Mateer. I think we fire up the rest.
I think we take out Sam Levitt as well.
Yes, because he is no longer going to be at Arizona State. Seems to be like he's going to be a big NIL free agent. So let's take him out too. I think that's a good
Might be
call.
the Cam Ward of the year. All right, so that means
Yep.
we're gonna have Ty Simpson, Mendoza, Garrett Nussmeyer,
Mhm.
and we'll have Maava, Klubnik, Aller, Beck of sorts to our disposal. All right, so you're drafting evens, you said.
Correct, sir.
All right, so that
No
means that
trades. No trades. No
no
shenanigans.
trades, correct, no trades. So that means I'll be drafting for the Tennessee Titans at number 1 overall. You're in a sticky situation where they don't need to get a quarterback because they have a quarterback. So we're not doing trades, which makes it a little bit tougher on me for maybe what I should or could do here. A couple of directions I think that this team could go. They probably should go offensive line, but there's just not an offensive line man that is near the conversation to go number 1 overall in this class. So I think you can argue yourself into a couple different directions. Arvell Reese, the linebacker slash edge slash maniac from Ohio State, who's maybe been he might be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. I might have put my votes in for the Bednarik Award this year, and he might be number 1 on my ballot. Caleb Downs, the safety for Ohio State as well, is in this conversation. And then I think you could potentially think about wide receiver when you just look at this wide receiver core right now in Tennessee. Jordan Tyson is a stud, but number 1 overall pick, that's a little aggressive for me. Even though we do look at that wide receiver core, it's A Manor, it's Chim DK, it's Ridley, it's gross.
It's gross.
But I think you can get wide receiver later. So I think number 1 for me is going to be either Arvell Reese or Caleb Downs. And just because of the conversation and because of how much of a season he's had, I'm going to give it to Arvell Reese. I think he's a game-changing player that can advance this Tennessee Titans defense. Arvell Reese, linebacker slash edge, Ohio State.
Edge, offensive tackle, quarterback. Those are the 3 positions that go first overall. So I think you made the right pick. So at 2 here, Giants. I think if we were going to allow trades, I think both the Titans and Giants would love a trade down.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the Jets and Raiders kind of jockeying position there. So I think that would be a great move for them to trade back. But going Arvell Reese seems like, he's probably the biggest riser amongst most boards. I wouldn't say Ruben Bain has fallen off. His level of play is still significant. On film, he's been awesome, one of the best players in the season. But I think what we're hearing now from some of these NFL teams is potentially they don't know if he is the disruptor, the absolute, change the game type of defender. He might be more of a balanced attacker on the defensive line, which isn't usually the guy that goes first overall, right? So I like the Arvell Reese there. Now with the Giants, they would be in a conundrum here because once again, in my big board, and I think on most big boards, I don't have a receiver worth taking at 2 overall. They don't need quarterback. Even with the regime change, Jackson Dart is the guy. And at that point here, looking at pick 2, I don't have a cornerback that they could definitely use going this high. Caleb Downs being the splash play, I think is going to be a very exciting thing to see. But what we'll see, I think, out of the Giants this year is safety. I don't think they'll take many chances. I think you'll see that with the head coaching hire being a Mike McCarthy. Joe Shane is trying to save his job, and to do so, he has to play it safe and have another draft year like he did last year, because last year's draft class for them, after injuries aside, was pretty good. And for me, I'm going to go ahead and take an offensive tackle. Now, right now, I would have no problem going with any of the big 3, my big 3 at the position of offensive line: Fanu, Proctor, Maui Goa. Did I say that right? I think I got that right. Maui Goa. I'm good. I'm good now. But I'm going to do a little bit of projecting here. Nope, I'm going to go with Spencer Fanu. I think he's a safe pick. He's a good anchor here. He's my highest rated tackle. Although I was going to steam up Caden Proctor because that freak of nature through the draft process is going to rise up everyone's boards. You can't be that big, that athletic, and he's played well. His best year of his career is this year. But with the Evan Neal stink in their mouth, maybe the Giants say, let's go a little safety. I'm going to take a kid from Utah. So let's go Fanu.
All right, we'll go Fanu goes number 2 to the New York Giants. Now the Browns are an interesting spot here at 3 where we just saw what Shedeur Sanders did this last week and it wasn't great. He's going to get a start this weekend. I anticipate it being better because he's going to get actually a full week of reps with the ones. Dylan Gabriel, we don't think is the answer. Deshaun Watson, who knows what's going to happen with that whole thing. They could argue to go quarterback here. You're number 3 overall and you're going to get the number 1 choice. And if Simpson's available, I mean, I would be hard-pressed not to beg for Simpson right now. Mendoza seems like it seems like a Brown pick, to be honest with you. I don't think they go quarterback though. I think that they want to give the opportunities to the players that they have. I think they want to run with Gabriel. They want to give Shador. I don't really know or quite understand the Browns theory, I guess, at that position and just as overall team right now with Stefanski. I don't even know if Stefanski, if they end up number 3 overall, if Stefanski's got a job, if he's the guy there at the end of the season. So at number 3, as you can see, the needs on the board right now are vast. They could go receiver, guard, tackle, corner, any of these directions. I think you take the playmaker, and the playmaker on defense, I think you take Caleb Downs. That's the BPA for me. So I'm going to take Caleb Downs, your safety from Ohio State.
Caleb Downs, currently my best number 1 ranked guy on my big board. And guys, my big board will be live on playerprofile.com real soon. Top 50 out. It's going to be out 1.0, so be on the lookout for that. Caleb Downs, don't mind the pick at all. I think the question you have to answer with the Browns is Kevin Stefanski the head coach? If he is, they're not going quarterback. They might go Deshaun Watson. There's been enough cool down in terms of the off the field stuff. They're paying him anyway. And at one point, Kevin Stefanski was enamored with the quarterback. That's why he greenlit the move, right? So I don't think if Stefanski's there, they go quarterback. I think they go vet, whether it be Deshaun Watson or otherwise. If you believe he's fired, I think this is a quarterback spot. But we are in quarterback territory. This top 6 here, if this is how it unfolds, this is the chance of us seeing 2 quarterbacks come off the board. I don't know if we see another one. I don't know if 2 quarterbacks are going to be first round worthy right now. I currently only have the 2, Mendoza and Simpson. And with this pick, the Raiders are up. I do think they go quarterback. They kind of were pushed away from it a couple of years ago. They missed out. Then last year, they didn't go quarterback. They decided, pass on Dart. We're going to go the vet. But here and now, I think they do go quarterback. It's a chance for them to have a little bit of what I think the Brady philosophy that is in that building, which is let your guys sit. He can theoretically sit behind, Geno Smith, who will be there another year, and then they'll be able to unroll it.
Out of town.
Or somebody else, whatever. But I still think Geno could be their guy one more year while they get this quarterback ready to rock. I have flip-flopped the quarterback position quite a bit, even since our last breakdown a couple weeks ago. And I have a new QB1. It is Fernando Mendoza. He's just been playing too good. He's not my cup of tea. If the rules of this mock draft was what I would do if I was in the seat of the owner, GM, etc., I would take Ty Simpson. I think he's my quarterback. I think he has a higher ceiling, but Mendoza's playing so good. He's just looked the part. And at this point, he's my QB1. I do think the Raiders say, screw it, hang up the phone for all calls. They take Fernando Mendoza here 4 overall.
I was hoping you were going to take Simpson there, but I like it. I just want to say that it feels like it's being underreported right now, but Geno Smith is returned to New York Jet form.
For sure.
4.7% interception rate in his rookie season. He had 12 touchdowns, 21 picks. The second season, he had 13 touchdowns, 13 picks, 3.5% interception rate. The last 3 years in Seattle, he's been good. 1.9, 1.8, 2.6 interception rate. This year, 4.2. He's 12 touchdowns, 13 picks. He's on pace to throw more picks than he does interceptions. And he's not going to get to the Jameis level. He's not going to be 30 for 30. He might be lucky to be 20/20 vision. But, Geno, the ship has sailed. And I just want to say one thing here. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks on their phenomenal offseason and having the sack to ship DK Metcalf out and to ship Geno Smith out and to bring Sam Darnold in and to entrust Darnold and JSN. It's worked in spades, and it has not worked for the Raiders.
You could argue that the NFC West is the best compilation of team builders in the sport.
Yeah.
What they're doing in Seattle, nails. LA, nails. I still believe in San Francisco, and we know we're Monty guys.
Yeah, I love Monty.
It hasn't worked, but we're Monty guys, and I still think if he could keep this job another year, get away from Kyler, I think you see things finally change.
We talk about the Cardinals here in 5 picks, but man, the play of the offseason could be a Kyler Murray trade to Cleveland or something.
Wherever. Get him out. Absolutely.
I have Arizona Cardinal friends that live here in town, and I've watched a couple Cardinal games with them, and they're like, dude, we don't want Kyler.
How could you? He's so unlikable.
Give me Jacoby Brissett. I'm like, you understand what you're saying right now?
He's more fun to watch, and he ain't likable. He just has that whatever it is. I don't know.
Jets up at 5. First quarterback comes off the board. It's Fernando Mendoza right in front of them. I think that this is a spot for the Jets that is a home run. I mean, you wanted a quarterback here. I don't think you believe in Justin Fields. You traded away Sauce Gardner. You traded away Williams. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Breece Hall. Breece Hall is probably going to be out the door next. And you need somebody to get the rock to Garrett Wilson and to Tyler and to Mason Taylor. And I think the one guy that can do that is Ty Simpson. And I think this offensive line is going to continue to grow. The weapons are there. Now the problem is the defense, which wasn't the problem. Originally, it was the offense was a problem. The defense was great. And now the defense is now going to become a problem because you're getting rid of all your talent. And the offense is going to start gelling if you get a guy like Ty Simpson in there to play with Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor and Breece and Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen, yada, yada, yada. And I think Ty Simpson can be that guy to, bring that Joe Cool back to New York. Remember, Joe Namath was a Alabama Crimson Tide, if I do remember, right? So maybe he'll bring the jacket back to the sideline. Ty Simpson, 5th overall to the Jets.
That's a good pick. I want to just run this by you, and I'll make my next pick really quick so we don't cut up too much time. But my gut take for the Jets is that they do not go quarterback.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
They should, and here's why. Their head Aaron Glenn saw how to do it in Detroit, and if their next GM is one of these hotshot analytical, the modern front office worker, a disciple from Holmes or a disciple from Casario, wherever, he's going to look at these 2 first-round picks and go, why waste him on a quarterback, quote unquote waste? Let's trade back. Let's regroup. Let's gear for 27 to be our quarterback pick around a team that's better. And let's just grab, whatever slapdick vet, put him in the game. But to do that, you have to trust ownership, which a Jets fan will tell you they don't. That Aaron Glenn's been given the leash to do this over a 3-year rebuild. And in today's NFL, with this ownership, I don't know if that's the case. It was just a thought I had. So I think the Ty Simpson pick will be the right pick for them. And I don't think Woody Johnson is going to let his next team builder and let Aaron Glenn get away from a top 5 pick and get away from a guy like Ty Simpson, who's it's our favorite quarterback this year, right? That we have coming out. So good pick. At 6 now, the quarterback being off the board. And I got to be honest, if Ty Simpson didn't go at 6, I could see him falling tremendously, or somebody having to come up to get him, because I don't know if the Saints do go quarterback, even if Simpson or Fernando Mendoza are on the board. Shuck hasn't looked great, but Shuck has at least warranted more momentum. And if he continues to build on this momentum, why take a guy like Simpson or Mendoza if you are okay with Shuck for one more year? Because that 27 class is looming, and there are some stars, especially if we're kind of going off this, where Dante Moore goes back, Sellers is back, Mateer, Manning, and of course, potential Heisman Trophy winner this year, Julian Sayans. So I think that they kick the can and they go with their best player here. Ruben Bain, for me, is the highest ranked guy. So I will have them take Ruben Bain. He does kind of fit, he might not be that flashy edge rusher, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Cam Jordan, who's been a longtime vet on that team that's transcended, all regimes. I think that could be the type of player that they look. And if Ruben Bain, who's, number 2 on my big board, is there at 6, I think they like the value, take the edge for Miami.
All right, we'll go Ruben Bain to the. That's kind of interesting fit now with Cam Jordan on his way out. Number 7 overall, we have the Washington Commanders with the banged up Jaden Daniels this year. Jaden Daniels, if you remember right, once played for Arizona State. He did not play with Jordan Tyson. I think they were about 2 years separate. I think Jaden Daniels is there in 2021, and then Jordan Tyson got there in 2023. They're now going to connect in Washington. This burgundy and gold color that they shared at Arizona State is now going to be shared at Washington. You look at the wide receiver core with Washington right now, next to Terry McLaurin and Debo, for however long Debo's got left. They've been trying to fill this 3 spot, just like the Eagles kind of have been the last couple of years. Chris Moore, Robbie Anderson, Robbie Chosen, Jalen Lane got the 4th round this last year. Traylon Burks got a couple of targets in the last couple of weeks. Like, they need a guy that they can depend on and stick in this spot. I think Jordan Tyson falling to 7 here is kind of your, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow thing, where I know they were teammates and these guys weren't teammates, but when a guy gets hurt, when your franchise quarterback gets hurt and you fall into the top 10, it's not a luxury pick, but it's sort of a luxury
You're not
ability.
expecting to be there again. You're dipping your toes in the top 10. You're not
Yeah, you're not
living in
expecting
there.
to be there again, and you can get if you can get a difference maker at the wide receiver position,
Mhm.
that's a little bit different. I know you can hit your Amon-Ra St. Browns and stuff later, and that happens, but that doesn't happen every year. But if you can get up here and you can get a guy that you know is a rock solid stud, when you got Terry McLaurin age 30, Tebow up into the 30s, and you can get a guy that you can attach to Jaden Daniels for the next 10 years, you go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take Jordan Tyson here to team up with Jaden Daniels in Washington.
Is he your wide receiver one on your big board?
Yes.
Yeah, right now I got Lemon, but I could be swayed because the size of Tyson is, kind of looking for that archetype. This next pick will probably be the most scrutinized because it's the probably least fun because you could go quarterback. This is, I think this is a Simpson spot if he falls to them with a top 10 pick. And again, I truly miss, Michael Lombardi being off the air because I loved listening to him. He was so funny. Super Bowl winning, Terry, what's the GM of
Super Bowl
Atlanta?
winning GM Terry Fontenot.
Shout out Michael Lombardi. So Super Bowl winning GM Terry whatever his name is, he did it again. I mean, giving away a top 10 pick for an edge rusher, and the edge rusher's been good. You could argue James Pierce has been pretty damn good, but geez Louise, a top 10 pick when there's a ridiculously good edge rusher in this class here at 8 that if they waited, they could have taken. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm not going to go offensive tackle, which is definitely in play for them. Quarterback, luxury pick. You want to talk about luxury pick? A Rams having the top 10 pick?
Mm-hmm.
That is luxurious. That is a top, it's penthouse luxury. It's the best. But there's a player that I'm getting more and more obsessed with in this class, a player that I just see on Sundays being absolutely unleashed, a guy that has double-digit sack outcome in his rookie, campaign, in my opinion, a little undersized, but we're seeing these guys work in the NFL, and if you put this menace with that front seven, with this defense, David Bailey on the Rams is sicko mode type stuff.
Not even an every down guy, just a rotational edge rusher.
Just a rotational just Tasmanian devil. This kid. He's just been so good at Texas Tech. I mean, the whole defensive unit. I'm so bought in with the Texas Tech defense, and David Bailey is he's a game wrecker, and getting after the quarterback is essential in winning in the NFL. You have to always steam these guys up.
I like that. I feel like that's a little ripe. I don't know if anybody, I mean, I haven't looked. I try to stay a little bit out of the weeds on what other people are doing right now at this time of the year, but I'm not sure if anybody's going to have David Bailey as a top 10 pick. I kind of love that though, because this is a guy that he seems like he's going to have good athletic traits when the combine and pro days do come around in the circle. So I'll be interested to see what happens here. Bengals at 9. You kind of might have sniped me here. I'm looking at edge as well. Trey Hendrickson is going through his contract situation. He's been, he got a contract before the year, right?
Yes, but I think it was short term. I think it was 1 year. I think it was just to settle the year.
Yeah, 1 year, 29. 1 year, 29.
So he's going to be gone. There's no way he's in Cincy next year unless they franchise him, which I think would be crazy.
Which they could.
They could,
but it's going to cost him an arm and a leg, and an arm and a leg is something that Keldrick Falk does have. And I'm going to go Keldrick Falk here, the big boy, the freak from Auburn. I'm not sure he has double-digit sacks in him consistently, but I do think he has double-digit sacks in him, maybe getting to that 11-12 area. And a guy that kind of nose to the grindstone, kind of like a Hendrickson, not going to be bare-gloved, not going to be no-gloved, I should say, bare-handed. But I do like Keldrick Falk in this defense. I'm going to plug him in here at 9. I think there's a couple of different directions we could go here, too. Like, I like TJ Parker a little bit here.
Yep.
I like Keldrick Falk. I think you could look at some other spots as well, including the offensive line for some guys we haven't talked about to this point. You took Moe Goa already, right? Oh, no, you didn't. You brought him up.
Yep.
Maui Goa is debatable here. I'm going to take Keldrick Falk.
Tackles definitely, yeah.
I'm going to own it. I'm going to take Falk, but I think Maui Goa would be definitely in the conversation here.
They've tried to throw money at offensive tackle. I wonder if they do that again, and they just kind of you go with a guy like Falk. I think they do need defense. I think they're sick of hearing that they have the worst defense in the league. It's just terrible. And Falk is one of those guys who's been good, massive frame on this kid. You put him across from, Stewart, who has been a pain in the ass for them, but has started to shine a little bit before getting hurt. I think now you're starting to look at an edge attack, an edge rushing program that, they can start being excited about. So good pick there. Now at 10, Mekhi Lemon Watch is on and popping here. Jeremiah Love is on and popping. He is that good. I've come around to Jeremiah Love. I do think he is a potential top 10 pick in the NFL draft. But we're Monty guys, and Monty's going to do the right thing. He's not going to have Kyler. He's going to be able to set up an offense. And I think what we will see rest of season is with Brissett throwing with this type of offense, the way it's working, I think they'll come to find out that they like Michael Wilson in his role.
Yep.
And I don't know if they push the envelope to go around one wide receiver after just doing so 2 years ago. So they're not going to go wide receiver. And for me, I am going to go with the projectable tackle. I am going to go with the mountain of a man. I am going to go with Caden Proctor. Francis Mauigoa is the safer pick. Will probably be ranked higher than Proctor through the process. But since we are not there yet, I am just seeing an off season that just is Caden Proctor. Again, that big, that athletic. We're going to see him in the playoffs. If he is on the rocket ship that I expect him to be, or at least going to go with right now in this point in time, Proctor's a top 10 pick. I mean, he's just massive kid, 6'8", 370 pounds. Dude is taking wildcat snaps and scoring touchdowns, Cody. I know that doesn't matter, but it fucking matters. It has to matter. It has to. So I'm going with Proctor here at 10.
Right tackle or left guard?
Right tackle to start. They're going to give the kid a chance to play on the outside, which I think is good. I think the fact that they have Johnson playing the left takes a little bit of that pressure off Proctor, because with his size and speed, someone's going to want to throw him on the left side immediately to cover the blind side. And I think we've seen a luxury kind of with the Cowboys, not needing to do that with the kid they took 2 years ago from Oklahoma. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name. Yeah, they were able to throw him on the right side, let him get comfortable, and he's playing pretty good for them. He's developing into the guy that we hope to see. I think that's the approach with Caden Proctor. And I know top 10 pick, you don't want to automatically make him a right side of the thing, but look, we have 2 tackles off the board, and both of them might be right tackles in 26.
Picks 1 through 10 for the podcast audience go like this. Titans take Arvell Reese. Giants take Spencer Fano, the tackle from Utah. Browns take Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State. Raiders take Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback from Indiana. At 5, the Jets take Ty Simpson, the quarterback from Bama. Saints take Ruben Bain, edge from Miami. Washington goes Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State. Rams go David Bailey, edge from Texas Tech. Bengals take Keldrick Falk, edge from Auburn. And at 10, the Cardinals take the massive lineman, Caden Proctor from Alabama. Now we're going to go 11 through 32. We're going to turn the pace up a little bit so we can get out of here under that 45 to an hour marker. Otherwise, we're going to be here for 2.5 to 3. Because
we'll do that one day, right? Let's agree to that now here before Thanksgiving. We are going to do a marathon mock where we'll tell the ladies to take the day, take off. Maybe Cody, maybe we'll have to be in person, and we'll do an in-person, same studio, massive mock. Leave in the comments. Do you want to see it or not?
With our pace. It might actually hurt it. I don't know.
It would hurt our pace. We'd be drinking. We'd be having a ball. It'd be Charlotte or Charleston or somewhere beautiful.
Maybe I'll go rent an office out, and we can do it like we can just have like a big ass whiteboard in the background of this, and we can just write on the board like the draft picks.
We'll have to stream that too, so people can come.
Little war room action.
Yeah, do you want to see that? Leave in the comments. Let us know.
That'd be a fun stream. Yeah, drop that in the comments if you would lock in for a live stream mock draft. 1, 2, 3, maybe 7 rounds.
Maybe every single.
No, we got like 150 days to figure that out.
Crank it up.
Number 11, the Miami Dolphins. Number 11, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock here. With the Miami Dolphins, I think we have a couple of different directions we could go. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be gone, so they kind of look at this wide receiver core. It's Jalen Waddle. I like Malik Washington, but do we think Waddle takes a step into the Tyreek Hill role? Kind of seems like he might have already. Malik Washington steps into the Jalen Waddle role. You're still looking for a number 3. Your receiving core obviously has regressed at that point. I think you can look at wide receiver a little bit. I also think you can look at corner, and I think you can look at offensive line. So I'm going to go ahead. I didn't realize until a couple of weeks ago when they played, I think on like Thursday night or Sunday night, is that former first-round pick Cole Strange.
Yeah.
Was on the practice squad with Cleveland and then was claimed by the Dolphins to play right guard.
He starts for them.
I was like, whoa, I did not realize that whole transaction happened. But yes, so last year, first round pick, the Dolphins took Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan. The year before that, they took Chop Robinson, the edge from Penn State. They also traded Jalen Phillips away. He ended up now in Philadelphia. I think you could potentially look at the edge. They have Judon right now who's in there. He feels like he's everywhere, here, there, gone the next day.
Dust.
Yeah, Bradley Chubb is there. Chop Robinson, that kind of looks like your future there. Your defensive tackle group is strong. Corner is a place I think you can look. Rasul Douglas was brought in this last year. Jack Jones is down there. Our favorite Juju Brents from Kansas State is also in that room. Big, long cornerback.
Just got hurt, though.
I think, he's in the room, I'm saying, more than Minka's there. Ashton Davis, the guy from the Jets. I like this Dolphins defense, so I want to go to the offensive side of the football. And when I'm sitting here at 11, and I'm not sure if they believe in Tua, but I think that they're going to have to give him another year because of his contract. And so if you're going to give him another year and you know that you're losing a Tyreek Hill, I think you can go offensive line or you can go receiver here. And so if you want to go offensive line, you have a couple of options. You can take him out, you can put him inside. He can play he can play right guard, he can play right tackle. I think he can play anywhere. That's where I'm leaning. But Maddie, I know I told you we were going to hurry this thing up. Now I'm like 3 minutes into the Dolphins pick.
Just sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, baby.
Mekhi Lemon or Maui Goa? Does Maui Goa stay in South Beach, or do we go get Mekhi Lemon from Southern California?
I think you could go. I'm going to go with Lemon here. I think Lemon is the speedster, and I think. What do we project his 40 time, Cody?
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be unbelievable. 4.47 maybe.
4.4. See, I think he could be a low 4.4 guy.
I don't know.
I think he could. I think he can be. But what my ultimate point is, I am starting to believe that Tua survives because of his contract one more year. And because of that, Mike McDaniel survives. Think of this, Cody. If McDaniels is fired, they will have to have brought in the last 2 head coaches with the promise of playing Tua. That's insane. One was enough. I think McDaniels gets enough wins for the rest of the season to stay there. New GM. They had success with Waddle being a first-round pick. I think they do it again. I think Mekhi Lemon is, of all the guys in this class that could be, that not Tyreek Hill, but that Jalen Waddle. When Jalen Waddle becomes Tyreek Hill, I think Mekhi Lemon's that guy. I think it's a good pick.
All right, Mekhi Lemon's the pick, number 11 of the Dolphins. You're up with the Cowboys.
So I am already sick of it, so I'm just going to do this out of spite. This is a spite pick. I don't care. I am not mocking Jeremiah. Jeremiah Love of the Cowboys is going to be last year's Ginty to the Cowboys, and it stinks. I don't like it. I'm just soured by it, so I'm going to not do that ever. Ever, Cody, ever.
Even if there's a fire?
Even if there's a fire, Jeremiah Love is not going to be mocked to the Cowboys. Because truthfully, Jerry's been many, many things. Has many, many criticisms. But if you look over the last few years, I think they've drafted pretty well. They've gone with the picks that haven't been the sexiest, picks that I think is going to help keep this team competitive and then hopefully take that next step is what they want. And I think the guy to help them do that is someone who, is a player that was a potential top 5 pick. And Jerry's obsession with the big boys in the middle. I think they go Peter Woods, who would be of value if he slides to 12. I know they just got, what's his name from Packers when they traded away Parsons, and they just traded for Quinnen Williams. But, I think Woods is the difference maker that you put in for the rest as those guys get older or whatever. And I think Peter Woods and Quinnen Williams that's kind of looking like a little bit like the Rams, right? And what they got going on with their edge rusher and their inside presence, both being sizable, can help the run, can get after the quarterback. I think this is what they start building. I think this is the move they would go with. But if they keep sucking, this would be Arvell Reese donning a star on his helmet would be it would be the most likely of outcomes of all outcomes if they can get that high. They're not high enough yet.
All right, number 12, number 13, the Minnesota Vikings.
See, that's your favorite team. So we both got our favorite team. I picked the right number. That was the right number. That was the right call. Say that was the right call.
It was destiny. It was destiny.
That's right.
The fact that Maui Goa is still here pisses me off.
Yeah, but that's fine. 3 tackles in the top 13. That's pretty standard practice. I don't think that'd be crazy.
I kind of want to put him at guard. That's the problem. Like I kind of want to draft him and put him in at guard. The problem is that they've spent money on the interior at center and guard. And they got Brian O'Neill, who I like. So I'm not going to go there, even though I should. I'm going to allow that value to keep falling. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take corner. And I'm not going to take Jermod McCoy. I'm going to take Mansour Delane from LSU. And I'm going to plug him in here on this Brian Flores defense.
That's something they desperately needed, and this kid's been dynamite for the Tigers. I think he overpasses Jermod McCoy as cornerback one since we haven't seen McCoy, and we were expecting to have him back at least by Halloween. So I think with that you can make that call. Now with the Ravens up, I think they can go a number of different ways, but I don't have a receiver that I don't think Carnell Tate is kind of their cup of tea. Another first round receiver. It doesn't seem like they need to go round one wide receiver. I think right here they go with BPA. I think they take the best player available, which on some boards might be TJ Parker. But I think here they go with Maui Goa. They put him inside and really get that scoop of value. The Ravens always scoop up value. Maui Goa to the Ravens is a perfect fit. Inside now, outside later if they need to be. I think that's a pick that they would love to make.
Did you say Maui Goa? Yes. My brain was on Kansas City first.
Clip that, somebody. I need that on social medias. Just the beautiful soliloquy I just went on, that poetic rant, and that. Did you say Maui Goa? I wasn't listening to anything your bitch ass was saying.
I'll tell you why. It's because I was like trying to prepare for my next pick while I was listening to you, and then I started to like galaxy dream of Jeremiah Love on the Chiefs, and I was like, God, would they do that with Clyde? And then I was honest. This is exactly what was going through my head, Maddie. Was Jeremiah Love in a Kansas City Chiefs jersey running the football behind that offensive line, prolonging Patrick Mahomes' career? I was like, God, that would look so good.
Oh, wouldn't it though?
That's what I dream about sometimes in the middle of the day. Jeremiah Love running the football in a Chiefs jersey. Jeremiah Love is the pick, number 15 overall. I don't think the Chiefs are going to pick here, but they're here in this mock draft. And this is assuming obviously did not make the playoffs, which I don't think is happening, but they are 5-5. So this is where they're going to get picked at right now. Jeremiah Love, they have no run game, which I think is the big genesis of why they're struggling right now. Is Kareem Hunt stinks, Pacheco can't stay healthy, and Brashard Smith has not found any footing yet. So I'm going to go Jeremiah Love taking this team to the next level.
Fantastic pick. I understand the daydream. I will daydream about that after. But I also think that's a good pick because I was going to take Jeremiah Love here at 16. And what the Chiefs would do would be saving the Texans from themselves. Jeremiah Love, he obviously helps a quarterback, but their offensive line is putrid. It's bad this year again. Mm-hmm. So and with the top three being off the board, I think Jeremiah Love will be so high on big boards that once you get past 12, even non-running back teams will start to be like, wait, Jeremiah Love's, he's different. Boy's good. Very, very good. So good pick. He saved the Texans from themselves. So now I am going to go offensive line here. I'll be honest, Caleb Lomu's have been a bit of a disappointment for me this year at Utah. I don't know if he's going to end up having that round one tag. I feel like this would have to be a reach at offensive line at pick 16. But at this point, you kind of have to do it. I'm not even going to say the kid's name yet. I haven't phonetically sounded it out in my own head. Ola Vega Ione.
Sure.
Ione. I'm not going to – I got to – just like I did with Maui Noah, you got to learn these things. But I have Jennings Dunker ranked higher on my big board. I think he can stick outside at tackle. He's had not just one, but two really good seasons. He's a little bit light in the ass for a tackle, but Texans might need to put him out there. I know they got the kid from Minnesota, Emercy, monster. I think they go Jennings Dunker, play him inside, outside, wherever. They just need offensive line help, and I think he has the highest ceiling. So I'm going to go with Jennings Dunker at 16.
Oh, you are going Dunker.
Dunker, baby.
Okay. All right, number 17 overall is the Carolina Panthers. We're not going wide receiver here. I know people want us to go wide receiver.
That's crazy. 3 years in the last 4 or 3 in a row, whatever it would be. They're not going first round wide receiver again. No way. No way.
Might. I don't think they will. No way. I think they go edge. They've been trying to fill this edge spot really since Burns left. Nick Scorton's done good, but I think they need to add another body in here. in this 3-4 defense. I'm going to go TJ Parker from Clemson, just down the street.
Massive value, in my opinion. Massive, massive value. I think what we've learned from this Lions team is that what we predict isn't the truth. What their biggest needs are isn't necessarily where they go. They want football players. They want certain players. And so I don't see a lot of teams mocking this. I don't see a lot of people expecting this based on the needs. You know, what you see there, offensive line, defensive line, sick cornerbacks. Everyone's hurt in their secondary right now. McCoy would be a decent pick here. If he comes back healthy, I think he would stay on the board for me. As a first round lock, as a guy with the speed, as a shutdown type of kid, putting him across from Terrion Arnold would be sick nasty. So that's on the board. But I'm going to go off the little beaten path here because I think this player fits this team, and this is a bigger need for this team than really it's being reported. Carnell Tate, Ohio State, going to the Lions. Isaac Tesla he's not the guy. He's not the heir apparent. He's not warranting targets. He's not earning targets. And they're still deprived of that secondary playmaker after Amon-Ra. Sam Laporte has been good, not great. Gibbs has been fantastic, don't get me wrong. But again, they need to find more pass catchers for a guy like Jared Goff and for this offense. And Carnell Tate, size, athleticism, he's part of this Ohio State program. These kids are typically the kids that are doing it right, blocking, learning all these things. And when you watch him on tape, I see a Dan Campbell kid in Carnell Tate, a kid with balls, a kid with, the tenacity, the kid for the big moment. Seems like a Dan Campbell kid to me. So Carnell Tate going 18 here to the Lions.
Beautiful. All right, Tampa Bay's on the clock. All right, so I'm going to take at 19 the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running up to the board, running up to the podium to put that Jermod McCoy ticket in. I think you could look at a multiple of spots here. I know they're aging in a couple of areas like the defensive tackle position, but I think you look at cornerback. It's a place I've always thought Tampa Bay should attack. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Ben Morrison was a second-round pick last year who had first-round talents. Jamel Dean's been there for 6 years. Zion McCollum, generally one of the bottom 20 cornerbacks in the league right now. So I'm going to go ahead and add a cornerback to this list, Jermod McCoy, with some upside.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer. And a good pick, too, because I think McCoy would be on the board absolutely for the Steelers here. No quarterback for them to take. Receiver could be a possibility here. A guy like a Denzel Boston might make a ton of sense for the Steelers at this moment in time. But my gut tells me that based on the way this defense is played, last week they wreaked havoc, scoring 2 touchdowns, but it feels to me as if they're losing their identity. And to me, getting a defensive player, like last year they went defensive line when we weren't expecting them to. And I think that with TJ Watt getting older and Hightower getting older, I think with Jalen Ramsey, on the back nine, that there will be a concerted effort to replace some of these guys in the draft this year, especially if they have a top 20 pick. So Cassius Howell, who's looked great, but I believed in this player a lot coming into the season. And I need to ask you this, and maybe it's cheating, maybe it's not, I don't care. What happened to Anthony Hill? Because Anthony Hill to the Steelers 5 months ago seemed like a heaven-sent pick.
Nothing happened.
Then why is he not still a top 20 player on big boards? I don't understand it. I mean, in fairness, maybe not top 20. I am at 29, so top 30. Why is he not a first rounder, a fringe first rounder based on the season? I just haven't watched Texas closely enough because I love what I see out of Anthony Hill as a prospect, as his ability to make a shitload of tackles and play in the middle of the field if you want, or get after that quarterback. He had a bunch of sacks last year. Is that fallen off? Like, what is it that's caused him to fall draftwards? Because I want to click Anthony Hill to the Steelers right now.
Can I tell you what I think it really is?
Yes, please do.
I think it's the fact that his versatility, and this is from someone that watches on a weekly, his versatility, people have looked at it and it's different. So these numbers that's showing on the screen right now from PFF so this is going to be counterintuitive to what I'm saying right now, that his coverage snaps he had more of in 2024, and his pass rush snaps he's going to have more of in 2025 than he did either the last 2 years. That's wrong. Like that, they can say that, but from his overall utilization, he's seen a lot more coverage snaps this year from the perspective of actual passing down coverage snaps, and he's done a lot better job in coverage this year than he has the last couple of years. He's got a couple interceptions. He's forcing fumbles. I think he's got 3 forced fumbles on the year. He's gotten a couple sacks, and they're on beautifully timed blitzes. The difference is that early in his career, that freshman season 2023, when he had big games against Bama and these big games, and he got bumped, like he bum rushed onto the scene, it was because he got a lot of sacks. I think last year he had 7 or 9 sacks last year. And that was what people were like, dude, that was like, remember Arvell Reese now? It's like, that's what
the opposite of Arvell Reese. Right. You're right. Right.
They're like, this is what he's going to be. The difference is the way that they've used him at Texas. He's just playing more versatile role, I guess would be the best way to say it. It's like, I think that the mainstream or the media suppressing the Anthony Hill stock is going to be a flat circle thing that's going to come around, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, we knew he was a first round pick. It's just the fact that like people in the building know that, and they can see the growth and the maturation of what he's done as a linebacker. Whereas like the media is just going to say like, this guy hasn't done shit compared to what he did the first 2 years. And so they're dropping him, which I think is wrong. I think he's a lock top 40 pick.
Okay. So, all right, that helps explain a lot. So that actually helps me make my decision. I am going to switch my pick because I still thought, he wouldn't have to be a blitzing linebacker to get sacks. He could be a versatile guy that could. I just picture the speed.
I think he's
with
beautiful.
Hill.
He is beautiful in Pittsburgh.
Right, but if they don't have to take him at 20, they could take him next in the second round. Well, they don't have.
I never said they could take him in the second round. I'm just saying he's a lock top 40 pick. Like he's 20 to 40 is. Any of these teams that take him here would be like mucho, right? This would be like Chicago would be drooling. Right. I mean, Buffalo's drooling at this point. Like, there's like, if you don't take him here, he's going within his next 6 picks.
Okay. All right. So, but because of that, because of maybe the little bit uncertainty of getting after the quarterback, I am going to switch my pick because of that. But I like
you're worried about Anthony Hill get after the quarterback?
No, I'm worried about the NFL not viewing him that way. I'm trying to.
I think the NFL is going to view him. I think the NFL knows what he is. I don't think the media knows what he is.
Oh, then I'm going to go Anthony Hill. Yeah, let's go Anthony Hill because I love the fit, like I said, and I could see if they do want to drop him back. Like think of the speed between him and Peyton. Why am I drawing the kid from NC State? We liked his tape. He was fast as hell. Peyton will, but that speed, that sideline to sideline, get after it. Looks
that duo could. That's a
discussion. And then I think I viewed Hill's skill set as being the heir apparent to Hightower to TJ Watt, but you're saying that it's still there. People are just overlooking it because of how he's been used this year. So for me, that gets highlighted. In my opinion, that gets shown throughout the process. So I'm going to go Anthony Hill.
That's the thing. Is that his utilization, what he can do is he can do that. You can be multiple in defense, and you can bump Wilson over to be the main middle, and then you can say, guess what, Ant? Now you're going to, Watt missed the game. So now, you're going to have special packages to where Hill's going to be the edge this game, and he can do that. So,
I mean, you look at the numbers of with and without TJ Watt, they're dumbfounding so they need something there for that not to happen to keep their consistency, keep their winning ways. Anthony Hill kind of fits that to me.
All right. I love that. All right. So Chargers on the clock at 21, multiple spots you could go here, I think, with the Chargers. Interior offensive line will be number 1. I just don't think you could potentially go with the Penn State kid. That might be the best play here. Not a big Bozeman fan. I think Mekhi Becton has got situ. That's probably the play. I was thinking about going corner, but I think it'd be a little bit of reach to take C-Safe from South Carolina. But I think it's probably ballpark. I'm gonna take Olavide Aone from Penn State if I got it right.
Yeah, it's crazy. This team's drafted first-round offensive linemen like 3 times over the last 6 years, and yet they still need line. So you can never have enough of these kids. And I think his athletic profile would look nasty. With Slater, Zion, in this kid in the middle of the field. I mean, these are the dreams that Harbaugh has at night, if you know what I'm saying, right? This is the big move. Now let's go with the Niners. One thing that they told us to our faces at the trade deadline is they need beef on their defensive line. They need beef. there's beef available here. So give me Caleb Banks.
Ooh, Caleb Banks. A lot of projection here with him. A lot of question marks, right? We heard
You could project at 22. It's a little absurd if you take Banks top 15.
Yeah.
22 is fine. I think that's fine for a kid with that ceiling.
And when you're the Niners, you kind of they generally don't make mistakes. And if they take him, that means that they've approved all the off-field and the injuries and stuff like that. So hard to hate. Bears. They probably hope that Jeremiah Love was going to fall here to him so they can take another offensive player and kind of follow suit with the Atlanta Falcons build. Jokes.
Super Bowl winning GM.
Super Bowl winning GM Terry Fontenot with the draft pick. Their offensive lines come to fruition a little bit this year. They've had some injuries along the offensive line, but they do have a couple of guys that they drafted last year, and Ozzie Trapillo is still in that tackle room. I don't really know what I want to do here. I kind of just want to throw the pick at the defense and just take a Cassius Howell because he's undersized, but he's a little bit of a menace. And I think he's a guy that, you have Montez Sweat, you have Austin Booker, who's really came along. They traded for Joe Tryon from Cleveland. I think Dominique Robinson's been a situational talent. He's a guy that I want to say he had like 22 and a half sacks that last year at, was it Western Kentucky? No, or was it Miami, Ohio? Dominique Robinson. That's going to piss me off if I don't get it.
I'm not going to have that off the top of my head.
Miami Redhawks, Miami, Ohio.
Okay.
I think he had like 22 and a half sacks that last year in college. So it's like there's talent in that room. I think Cassius Howell is going to bring more of an edge that he has at A&M to play edge for Chicago and add to that room for a team that's only continuing to grow. And they're young, and I think they're really talented. And I'm not sure Cassius is a lock first-round pick. I think this is going to be one of those names that's in and out down the stretch. But I'm going to go Cassius Howell here, 23 to the Bears.
I think with this type of defense, like this takeaway style that they play, Cassius Howell is where he can excel. He doesn't have to do the little things, do your job. He could just be a menace where they need him to be a menace. I think he could be a great fit, fantastic fit for the Bears. Bills are up, and enough is enough. They've taken, defensive line picks. They've taken offensive line. They've done the things that was considered smart. Now they need to do something that's sexy. They're going to take Denzel Boston, a dog, a husky. They need the big body. Keon Coleman, he ain't him. They're having to they're resorting to Mecole Hardman, Gabe Davis. They need a player at this position. I think Denzel Boston will be a first-round pick. We always see a run on receivers throughout the first. This is wide receiver 4 off the board. I think this is a good fit for the Bills.
Can I ask a question here about the Seahawks?
Yeah, dude, of course. JSN's awesome. So
the Seahawks running game has stunk.
Yep.
Ken Walker's a free agent.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to pay him.
You're not going to pay him. Zach Charbonnet has, I want to say, one more year. So he has 2026.
Mm-hmm.
His 25th overall draft pick. I'm not like saying, hey, let's think about running back here, but I'm just saying, like, if Love was here, you would think about running back, right?
What'd you say?
If Jeremiah Love was here, you would think about running back?
Yes, of course. Jeremiah Love falling this far is on everyone's board. Everyone's going to be tempted to take him. I mean, we've talked about a scenario. I don't know if this was on the record or off, but we'll make it on the record now. Where can't you see just something crazy happen? Like, because Love is so good, like the Niners at 22 could take Jeremiah Love and just decide, CFC, you're a slot receiver. Jeremiah Love is going to be top 8 on every team's big board, maybe higher. So if Love was here, he's definitely on the radar, like he would have been for every pick after 50.
All right.
I do think I'll say this: I could see them going round 1 running back, because I do think there are some running backs that are getting enough steam that if they test well, might find themselves as first-round graded back. So I don't hate your thinking here. I don't hate it one bit. If you believe one of these kids is going to get that second running back taken in round 1, I could see it going here at 25. Because again, end of first round, teams are good. They're looking for certain things that they know they need. If they feel like the running backs haven't given them enough, and they certainly don't want to pay either one of them, Walker's going to get good money. And they don't need to do that. So I could see them going round one running back. It'd be a little bit outlandish, but we're okay with that here. Look at our board.
I think I'm going to pass on it for now. We'll come back to that maybe the next time we do a 2-round mock. I think we'll get a running back on that Seahawk roster. I'm going to go corner. So they took Devon Witherspoon a couple of years ago in the first round. They took Nick Emenwari as a DB this last year in the second round. They have Tariq Woolen, who we love, super long cornerback. I'm going to add Brandon Cease. So Cease or Cisse from South Carolina. So they went South Carolina last year in the second round. Now they're going to go South Carolina in the first round, 25th overall. They generally, the Seattle Seahawks, are kind of a team that might surprise you on day one. And they might take a guy you're not expecting, Jordan Brooks, for example. So I'm going to take Brandon Cisse here. I think there's a number of other names available. Avion Terrell's interesting. He's got a pedigree. But I'm going to take Cisse from South Carolina here.
That they need secondary help. And he's steaming up everyone's board. But I think whether it's Terrell, Cisse, or whoever, I think cornerback is a good pick. Now is the time for my New England Patriots at 26. Offensive line.
The boos rained down in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on April 26th. Boo! The Super Bowl champion winning New England Patriots. Boo!
From your lips to the football God's ears. All right.
How's it feel, Matt, to have a MVP quarterback Drake May fill in the footsteps of MVP quarterback GOAT Tom Brady?
This is the state of football here in New England.
For like a month, and I haven't asked you
it. This is the state of New England football. Okay, I had this conversation literally today, dropping my kids off at preschool. There's a couple people there. They were dropping off their grandson, and I had my Patriots jacket. We started talking about the Patriots, and everyone's a diehard out here. So you're gonna talk Patriots with pretty much anyone. And I said, I can't get my hopes up, because I don't think this is how it can happen. You can't go from being competitive for 20 years, take a 5-year hiatus, and just start over. Like they can't already, can they? And then I look at the schedule and I go, they can. They got the quarterback. They got Vrabel. Drake May's been fantastic. Everything I've hoped he'd be. I thought we'd see this version of him next year. Year 2 of McDaniels, year 2 of Vrabel. I thought this year was going to be a whole lot more dialed back. No. McDaniels, Vrabel, this team, they have trust in him. They're letting him win games, manage games. He's still trying to lose some games. He does make a mistake every now and again, but that's come to be expected. And then when you realize that he was the youngest quarterback of the group taken 1 through 12, or the second youngest, it feels great. MVP, we've seen it before. Year 2 quarterbacks, they win the MVP all the time. And looking at that schedule, he takes care of business 1 out of the 2, Baltimore and Buffalo, let alone both. You could still slip up somewhere else, and he's going to be one of the top seeds in the playoff race.
All right,
division winner. Drake May's here. So now, having said all that, let's talk about the draft. We're here to talk about the draft. Offensive line, I don't think there's a guy that would make sense here. I think anyone would be a reach. Cornerback, I do think Christian Gonzalez signs long term. They could use another, but I don't know if it's a round 1 investment. What seems to me as a round 1 investment is a pass catcher. Okay, they got the quarterback, they got the lineman. Now they need the pass catcher of the future. Kyle Williams I still believe he could be a piece. He's not going to be a guy, though. He ain't going to be a guy. He's just going to be a piece. Kayshon Boutte, he's going to be a piece, but he's going to get money sooner rather than later. So I don't know if he's going to be here more than a couple of years. So they got to go wide receiver or tight end. I am a little nervous on Kenyon Sadiq being the tight end 1 going first round.
Really?
Hand to God. I think the athleticism's there. He just hasn't played great. Like, I don't see him on the field being like, that's a difference maker. That's Brock Bowers.
Tight end class blows, by the way.
That's my point. I still think Eli Stowers is going to be the best pro. So I mocked Eli Stowers to this Patriots in my summer mock round 1. And I still think Eli Stowers is the best. I think I still don't. I'm not convinced right in this moment that Sadiq is better than Stowers. He's going to be more athletic. I know that. How much am I weigh that in? I'll find out in the offseason. I'll find out at the combine when I see him. I'll find out when we talk to him in Mobile. I'll find that out. But I don't think the Patriots are going to go Sadiq. So they go receiver. Wide receiver 5 off the board is kind of wide open. Okay, we've heard some hype on Concepcion with good reason. Chris Bell looks big, looks athletic. But there's a guy for me in my heart that I have graded right on the fringe of round 1. And this kid has balled every stop that he's been in college. Every year he's been in college. He's banged up right now, but he's on the way, on the mend. And as long as he's back for the big games, the playoff games, he's going to be there for the combine. He's going to be the test. He's not going to be the fastest, biggest, strongest, but he's going to be a solid wide receiver at the NFL level, a guy that can do a ton of things for Vrabel and Drake May. Elijah Surratt goes 26 to the New England Patriots.
Look at the stones in this guy putting Alec Manor in the first round.
I think he's got the dog in him. I don't know. A.O. Manor's biggest problem is he didn't have that dog in him. You could be a donkey if you got that dog in you. Surratt's got that dog in him. The Indiana with Cignetti is I am going to bet on this always translating in the NFL as long as Cignetti's the head coach of that team. And with that, he's got the size, he can block, he's a dog. Yeah. Vrabel building a culture. This kid is someone who comes into the culture and is grateful for being a round 1 pick, grateful to be a New England Patriot, and could form into that dog for Drake May in this offense. I take, but hands of God, I'd take Boston if he was here, but he's not here.
But he's not there. I think I'm going to go tight end here. Goddard's on a 1-year deal right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go Sadiq here.
This is a sick, nasty fit.
Tight end, Oregon. Not as big, not quite as big as Dallas Goedert, as physical, but I think athletic enough to where they've been trying to fill in this wide receiver 3 spot in Philadelphia for, ever. And Jahan Dotson's still mid at best at it. And they like the bevy of characters that are at the tight end position behind Goddard, but I think it's time to move on past Goddard and try to play this card and try to play the athletic tight end card for the wide receiver 3 or the third receiving option in Philadelphia. Kenyon Sadiq is here. One of the main reasons I'm doing this is I don't think there's an offensive lineman valuable enough here to come into Philadelphia in year 1.
And I also think it's a good pick because I think you just sniped the Broncos. I think Sadiq to the Broncos makes a ton of sense. I'm not going to mock Stowers here, but you bet your ass that I think it's a good fit. So if we do multiple rounds, or if he gets himself athletically to the point where the NFL looks at him as a round 1 tight end, Stowers on this offense would be awesome. Stowers would be fantastic for Sean Payton, but I'm not going to go with him here. I'm just not going to get too crazy. Got a little crazy with Surratt. We got to dial it back. Got to be fair. With that being said, though, they could really go with their best player available. I think for them, you don't have to go corner. They just went corner round 1 last year. But if Terrell's their best player on their board, you could see a world where that happens. Edge rusher, they don't seemingly need edge rush. They have some good edge rushers, but you always need edge rushers. So if they have an edge rusher at the top of their board, they could go with that. But for this pick here, I'm actually going to go with Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State. I think he can do a number of things for Sean Payton, and that position is getting a little bit older, hasn't really been as productive, and they want to keep that defense. It's part of the reason why they're 8-2, right? So they're going to invest again with the late round 1, take Styles, who'd probably be a bit of a value here, I would think, in most big boards.
The Rams are on the clock at pick 29, and I'm going to select the quarterback position and not take anybody. I'm going to take Connor Lew. I'll take the center from Auburn, the gross pick. They took David Bailey earlier. They get a center here. The center this year has been Coleman Shelton from Chicago, who was an undrafted free agent. They got Bo Limmer in the 6th-round pick 2 years ago. I think they add another offensive lineman here to the interior to try and continue to beef this thing up. They have problems at right guard and center that I think can continue to build as they age across everywhere. You need to continue to feed this offensive line. I think you could look at receiver. I think a guy like Casey Concepcion would fit perfectly in this Rams offense, especially with the aging of Devontae Adams. I should say he's not really aging. What he's doing is he's showing us something I didn't think. I thought Devontae Adams might be on the Andre Johnson, Julio I know he's not that athlete. He's never been that athlete, but I thought he
Right.
was that career arc to where it was going to fall off. He's showing us, and maybe that was my naive just thoughts, but he's showing us pretty clearly that he's going to be Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
He's going to be a guy that's going to play for 6 more years, 5, 6 more years, whatever it is, 4, 5, 6 more years. And he's just going to get these high value targets. And I love Devonta Adams for that. So I trust it here in Los Angeles. Like as long as Stafford's there, Adams will be there. So I'm going to go center, Connor Lew, Auburn.
And I think with this pick, you go with a luxury pick. You know, having 2 first-round picks is a thing of beauty for the Rams. They could go quarterback. They could go, whatever. They could do whatever they want. I think Lou's a good pick, something that they need. And having the second, I don't think if they had 1 round 1 pick, they'd go with the center. But the fact that it's their second, they shot for the moon with Bailey, makes a ton of sense. Let me ask you this before we move on. If you had to pick, so we set the rules of what quarterbacks were in this draft. If you had to pick a third quarterback going in round 1, who would it be? Because I think 29, 30 in this mock, even 32 could be on. We're on QB watch here with the Rams, the Browns, and the Jets.
So in this class, with people watching on the podcast, you can see Dante Moore's on the board, Lenore Seller, Sam Levitch, John Mateer. We're going under the assumption that none of those 4 guys are going to be in this class.
Go McShay rules. That's what McShay said. We're gonna go with that for now. You got to set your rules.
My guy would be Garrett Nussmeier. He's the highest on the board right here. I think you could talk about projection with guys like Carson Beck and Drew Aller, but the thought that Garrett Nussmeier had to deal with Brian Kelly and he had this abdominal injury, if that thing comes to fruition, he has a great pro day process. There's no reason in my mind Garrett Nussmeier isn't the clear next quarterback off the board.
Yeah, I think that's a safe pick. And I think that in this range here, given the fact that all of these teams have already selected in round 1, Nussmeier seems like a good pick, a safe pick. But I'm not going to go quarterback here with the Browns. I do want to ask you this. I asked this off the record. Now I'm going to ask you on the record. You can answer it in 2 sentences if you'd like. Jaden Mayava is having a fantastic year for USC. He's got all the traits, 6'4", 230, good arm, mobile enough. We've seen these quarterbacks under the tutelage of Lincoln Riley be highly sought after in the NFL. With the door being wide open, and if these kids all go back to school, is there a path where he could, get past the Becks and the Nussmeiers, becoming an exciting enough prospect to be a first-round quarterback?
I think so, but I'm also not convinced he's going to declare.
Yeah, he has another year to go back. Absolutely.
I'm not convinced fully that he's going to declare. Now, I think like the idea of losing Lane and Lemon probably is like, can it get better than this? But also like USC's on the verge. Like if USC wins this week in Eugene and their playoff team, I don't know. I don't know what any of it looks like. Mm-hmm. Like I think that there's I think he's a wild card. I think he's a wild card in the whole conversation. I do think he warrants the top 50 conversation. I'm not sure if I'm ready to put him in the first round yet, though.
This next pick here, the Browns can go, I think, 2 ways: wide receiver, or I think it could go quarterback or cornerback. Now, you took Caleb Downs early, so they're helping the secondary. So for that reason, I am going to stick. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not going to go wide receiver because I'm looking at I don't see a wide receiver here going in round 1. Maybe Chris Bell, maybe Concepcion, but they feel like the first guy's called in day 2, right? So I'm not going to go with that pick. I think what the Browns do here, and we are operating under the assumption that Kyle Stefanski is the guy, meaning vet quarterback trying to win now. You go to the board and you leave with 2 first-round picks, and you get Caleb Downs and Avion Terrell. You can revitalize a secondary overnight, pair that with Mason Graham, Myles Garrett, and have a ridiculous defense. So that's where I'm going to go here. I think you could go edge, with Romeo Heights still being there. You could go Mason Thomas because you can never have enough pass rushers. That's an option. But I think cornerback is something that they need. And you bring in 2 first-round guys for the secondary, that defense becomes a complete unit overnight and potentially one of the best in the league if these kids are who we project them to be. Hood would be a good pick, too. I think Hood's played fantastic this year.
Sniped. Gut punch.
You've done it to me 4 times. You deserve 1. You've sniped me now Also, can I just say this? Make sure you leave a comment because we're going to keep doing this. But to me, I know this is a 0% chance, but doesn't it seem like we're 30 for 30 right now? This mock draft just feels right.
I like it.
It feels golden.
This one might mess it up, though. Cowboys. You gave them Peter Woods earlier. They went and got Quinnen, Kenny Clark. They've also went and got Jadeveon Clowney. They've also dealt with, the Marshawn Nealon stuff. Prayers up to his family.
Yep.
This real life, crazy real life
Awful.
stuff. Dante Fowler, that took Ezeraku last year in the second round. I think you're still looking at this defensive line. I think they see this has been a massive problem, and they got rid of Parsons, and they need to look for more and more and more here. They're not going to go. They're not going to go R. Mason Thomas. I'm going to go Joshua Josephs.
Ooh, I like that pick. Yep.
This is a Greek freak. This is a guy that's, I think when we get to testing season, he's going to put up mad numbers on the bench. He's going to have mad length. I think this is a guy that you can project to come in here into Dallas and, take over that Clowney spot at the beginning of next year. So I'm going to go kind of out of left field, Joshua Joseph from Tennessee. I think edge is going to be where they're looking here with that Green Bay pick. You replace an edge with an edge.
That's a good pick. I like Joseph's. Joseph pops to me, and he seems like you said, there are certain guys you expect to have helium through the offseason. Certain guys you expect to keep momentum, lose momentum. He, to me, is it's like we've seen this prospect before. These are the guys that have the ability to catapult themselves up the rankings. So I think getting him in round one makes a ton of sense. You might be too conservative at 31 by the time that his name is called. But this guy has top 20 pick potential based on, like you said, getting after the quarterback, being as good as gold in the NFL. And here we have the last pick of the first round. I think this would be a great way for the board to fall for a team like the Jets. You don't have to move up. You get your quarterback. And I think there's a number of players still on the board that can help them tremendously. They lost Sauce Gardner, so they go Colton Hood. That's possible. Do they go with a guy who's kind of slipped? Taking Romeo Height, taking Christian Miller, R. Mason Thomas. I personally I still have a lot of upside faith in DJ U's brother, Mateo. I think he could be a guy that we see go in the first round of the NFL draft. But for this pick, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to think about all the moves that the Jets have made, all the lack of all the hatred they've gotten, and I'm going to go with the bad pick. I'm going to bet on them being a stupid franchise. I'm going to bet on them just trying to get asses in seats, just trying to win the headline, win the day, get the guy that, this guy's a good pick. This is the guy. Oh, very excited about Ty Simpson, Garrett Wilson, and KC Concepcion. Burner, speedster, playmaker. Got to get the guy from the SEC to go with the SEC quarterback, right? That, to me, would be the dumb pick, given the fact that they have a pick, probably 5 picks from then. But that's how I see a bonehead franchise making a bonehead play at 32.
I don't think it's terrible, but I get the issue here. I get that it's not smart. Not maybe the move to make. There's the top 32.
I agree. I think that Concepcion's worthy of a first round tag. I like the player. And it would get me going. I'm not saying that I'm above the idiocracy. That's probably not the best way to build the franchise back, going quarterback and receiver when you have so many holes. But that is just what the Jets do, baby. That's just how they have done it. And until they prove otherwise, they're going to go with this. I just see the sexy pick being the move to go, quarterback receiver.
Favorite pick from round 1. I'll go first. 15th overall, Jeremiah Love to the playoff list. Kansas City Chiefs.
Love that. I think for me, my favorite pick, David Bailey, 8 to the Rams. It's just stylistically, menacingly. I mean, this defense is already young, fast, and violent. And then you just add another violent player. You bugged me out there. I thought we were doing the cold close. I thought I blew it because I kept rambling, but I'll just make it short. David Bailey, menace, going to the Rams, sexy pick.
All right, there it is. Picks 1 through 32. He's Matty, Cody Carpentier here. We appreciate you. We love you. Click that like button. Click subscribe. If you're on podcast, again, remember to go over to the Draft Rankings podcast on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you're at. I know you're getting this on the Player Profiler feed, but make sure you go over to our feed and subscribe, turn the bells on so you get the notifications when we start going every single day. We're going to keep on grinding. We're going to keep on working. Matty Kiwoom, I'm Cody Carpentier. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see you.
Peace.